102 ended up being recorded on my Twitch screen. Blech.
How you doing?
I'm recording my video.
Oh.
Spencer! Shh!
No!
To laugh at me. Or laugh with me. And we'll say laugh with me. They're gonna laugh with me. Hello dears, Natalie Locke here with episode 101 of Write the Story, where I take a prompt and 10 words out of this book and share with you my process and how I outline all the way through drafting the story and what changes between them. Feel free to join me after I give you the prompt and 10 words, or just listen to my dumpster fire of a story. This story is 101 because I forgot that I live stream on Twitch Sunday nights at 7 p.m., which would have been episode 101, making this one episode 102 to air after 101. But I ended up doing episode 102 on Twitch and recording this story because your girl can't figure out how to turn a page in a book. If this is the first time you're doing flash fiction, don't set any time limit at all. Or you could do like I do, where I take 5-10 minutes to outline, and then I take 20 minutes, sometimes 30, to actually write the story, draft it out. Some people take time to edit. My editing kind of is non-existent, which is why when I'm reading it out loud while I share it with you, I stumble and screw it up a lot. So technically I do edit, but it's like those line edits, not substantial developmental edits. But I still tell you what I would change accordingly with the story at the very end, with my least favorite line or area to work on and my favorite line. Without further ado, let me go ahead and give you the prompt and 10 words for episode 101. The prompt is a story that takes place in one room. The words to include are petting zoo, handsome, unbound, annoy, weekend, invest, immortal, piglet, cocktail, and camp. Now with these words, I did take liberty and change some of the words, like annoy became annoying, because it worked in my story. When you write your own, you can be a purist and keep the 10 words as they are given to you, or you can make a past tense, present tense, whatever tenses that works for your story. I've changed it, the root of the word, where butcher, like a person, became butchered, like an action. What I originally thought with this story was a kid kind of playing make-believe in their room, and they had like a petting zoo in the corner and such, but then with words like cocktail, it steered me away from that. So I ended up having an idea of what about a parent just put their kids to bed and they're talking with their spouse about the day's events where they went to a petting zoo. And that's the route I went with this. So figured there was a petting zoo, piglets were in the petting zoo. I kept camp for a kids camp, but it wasn't to be a zookeeper. Oh, I just thought of a really good line. So what I wrote in here was, I am immortal, need a cocktail, but I should have put, I'm not immortal, I need a cocktail. But I ended up changing the way I used immortal, but kept the person getting a cocktail. Actually, a cocktail was offered, which is, again, why I couldn't make it from a kid's point of view. This is where I kind of wrote myself in a little bit of how much the parents love the kids' enjoyment of the petting zoo and seeing the wonder on their faces, but the crowds on the weekend, one of the words, was so annoying and just, they don't want to deal with it ever again. And I've dealt with that. I don't like to go out with my kids on when areas are really crowded and stuff. I don't like crowded spaces. It makes me uneasy. So I gotta rip myself in. The line for handsome, I was like, the person is still handsome. I wasn't sure who was gonna say it. I really hadn't picked out my characters by this point in the outline. I put in invest the time. I was thinking investing the time in your kids, but I ended up changing where the investment was regarding the people. And unbound curiosity really stuck with me in describing the kids. So I just wrote down unbound curiosity, knowing that that was going to be attributed to the kids. So this outline started as an outline thinking about a kid's imagination playing make believe in their room. And then it evolved to an outline being parents discussing after a day's events and their kids have gone to bed. Ended up getting all the words here, but 1, 2, 3, 5 out of 10 words changed. Let me go ahead and read you my version of episode 101. Jerry sat down at the foot of the bed and laid back, with a sigh, on top of the comforter. He reached up and placed his hand on top of his wife's leg, who was under the covers reading a book. She looked over her reading glasses. That bad, dear? Jerry sat up and ran his fingers through his hair. The kids? No. They're as worn out as I am, just today as a whole. My God, I don't want to go to a petting zoo on the weekend ever again. Carol laughed. Too crowded? She asked. Jerry nodded. He slipped his shoes off and began to shed the day's clothes. Seriously, he said as he pulled his shirt over his head, the amount of people is annoying. Don't get me wrong. I love our kids. Their unbound curiosity is fantastic. Jerry threw his shirt into the makeshift dirty clothes hamper. I just need a cocktail and count down the days until the kids can enjoy the crowds at camp this summer without dragging me into it. I'm getting too old for this. Jerry began to undo his belt. Carol closed the bookmark in her book and placed it on the bedside table before she spoke. Well, 1, you're still handsome. Jerry arched an eyebrow as he slid his pants down. She continued. 2, the way the kids reacted to the piglets was adorable. And 3, I will get you a cocktail to sip on for when you get out of the shower, as thanks for putting the kids to bed tonight. Jerry strode across the floor and pulled back the comforter and offered his hands to help Carol out of bed. The only cocktail I want, he said, is you, my dear. The best mother and wife I could ever ask for. He nuzzled her neck, his beard causing her to laugh. Carol pulled away slightly, but Jerry kept his hands on her waist. Well, keep the immortal love strong, and I'll continue investing right back into you and the kids, as I have been, Carol said as she placed kisses across Jerry's jawline and his neck. Okay, this story, yeah, slice of life. It works for some, it doesn't work for others. I do this a lot where nothing much happens. I mean, the couple, you're seeing kind of a glimpse into their lives, but there's really no drama. I mean, the closest we get to drama is what we all can relate with, which is Jerry's annoyance with crowds. And the only way that I could have create more drama with this is what if this trip to the petting zoo was a make-a-wish situation, or a the mom is actually was hospitalized and this is kind of like the last family trip. She felt bad for not being able to put the kids to bed. That would give the drama that the story would need. But at the same time, why do people need to die or be at risk of dying for it to be a good story? You know, it's something I always fight with. But let me talk about what I need to work on, which I guess is the drama. Like I just said, it doesn't have that captivating, I must keep reading feeling to it. Like, there's some relatable points, but nothing was really killer, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Or we enjoy the characters, maybe. I mean, the characters were good, but it wasn't enough to keep me captivated. I think that's what I was really missing here. I feel like it started good, which brings me to my favorite line. If I had to pick a specific line, there's actually a few that I think I did pretty good, but the specific line that I think I did well with was the first line. Jerry sat down at the foot of the bed and laid back, with a sigh, on top of the comforter. You immediately have the main character, the emotions, well, and actually technically co-character, but you have the emotion that he's in, the state of mind, where he's at, what's going on. So for a starting line, I feel I did good. I showed angst. I show there's turmoil. And then it kind of just became the turmoil of, well, that's life. Let's keep going and try not to go again. But I guess if I was able to enhance the drama with maybe there is a family trip that they've never been able to have before, what if this was the first trip they've had after, let's make it lighthearted. Well, let's say this is a step family, a blended family, and this is the first trip they've taken as a family together. And so it has a lot of weight to it. And this is the first day where the kids weren't bickering about what's mine and your situation. So I can keep it lighthearted, but still have the drama. I don't have to put death into it. I threw out a few ideas of how to make this better because I can. I can make it better. But I also think I did really good with the characters doing something other than just talking. I got Carol holding a book, reading, and then she closes it, sets it on the table, and talks to him. I got Jerry getting undressed, and that getting undressed, getting ready for a shower is happening simultaneously as he's speaking. Then I had them interacting together, and you get to see their bond. And actually, based on their bond, it kind of would make sense of a blended family situation, and this was a good day. And I think that's where I'm going to head with this story. Now I'm inspired again. Like, I wasn't feeling the story at the beginning. I was like, okay, yeah, you got words on a page, but it's not that good. But now, thinking about what could make it good, what could make it better, I'm excited again. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to touch this again based on my own rules to myself that I could totally break. But I want to finish all the flash prompts before I go back and edit every single story. So now I at least have this video to document my idea of how to make the story better, and who knows, maybe a year from now I'll have even a better idea of how to make it better, and you'll be able to see me edit it on Twitch. Another story down, and 98 more to go. I can do this. I hope you continue to find joy in your passions every single day, every week, every month, and every year.